Hello, I'm Tom Turner. I want to tell you about a historical novel I've written. It's based on the life of a person who is, I believe, the most brilliant man to have taken up the profession of landscape architecture. John Claudius Loudon was a Scotsman who lived from 1782 to 1843. The book's called The Claudians, and writing it took me 2 years after some 50 years of thinking about it. Frederick Law Olmsted is rightly celebrated as the father of landscape architecture. But Loudon is, beyond doubt, its grandfather. I published an article about this in 1982 in Landscape Architecture magazine. Loudon does not get the recognition he deserves. And the main reason for this is that he wrote more words than any man who lived before him. The total is estimated to be 50 million words, equal in length to 70 copies of the Bible. Most of them are about gardens, plants, agriculture and building architecture, but a small percentage were about landscape architecture. My book's called The Claudians because it's also about his cousin, Claudius Buchanan. Their mothers thought the boys were very similar, and though they scarcely knew each other, one can discover much about Loudon from his cousin. Here's a list of Loudon's achievements. 1. He invented the system of glass and iron construction used to build the Crystal Palace, designed by Joseph Paxton. These materials and concrete have replaced brick and stone as the pillars of modern architecture. 2. Loudon also invented what remains the dominant principle in modern planting design. He called it the gardenesque, and the principle was to use exotic species in naturalistic compositions, as Gertrude Jekyll did and as Piet Oudolf does. 3. Loudon published the world's first illustrated and systematic history of garden design. The engravings are fully integrated with the text, graphically and thematically, using both plans and sketches. 4. Loudon advanced the idea of providing cities with circular promenades as a contribution to the greatest happiness of the greatest number. In the 19th century, this led to parkways, including Olmsted's Emerald Necklace. In the 20th century, it led to greenways. Through Loudon's friendship with Jeremy Bentham, utilitarianism became a tenet of modern urban planning. 5. Loudon also initiated the idea of planning for clean air in cities through the creation of concentric breathing zones, which we call green belts. 6. Loudon designed the world's first urban park in municipal ownership. Their predecessors, like the royal parks of London, Paris and Berlin, had been owned by kings and queens. Loudon's park was funded by a friend of his and donated to the city council. Loudon coined the word arboretum and used it in the name of this park, the Derby Arboretum. 7. Loudon borrowed the English term landscape architecture from its inventor, a Scotsman called Gilbert Lang Meeson, and launched it on a new trajectory. Loudon used it in the title of his edition of Humphrey Repton's collected works. Through Andrew Jackson Downing and Calvert Vaux, it was adopted by Frederick Law Olmsted. 8. Loudon extended the scope of the landscape profession way beyond landscape gardens. In 1806, he declared that he would use landscape improver as his professional title, but he changed his mind. As presented in The Claudians, Loudon came to view his work as including the design of gardens, town plans, public parks, greenways, roads, farming and forestry. Had he lived beyond the age of 61, he would, it is suggested, have written a book on landscape architecture. 9. Loudon also called for the planning of roads and railways to be done on a rational basis by public authorities, with engineers and landscape designers working together. 10. In the last book he finished, Loudon published his proposals for the design of cemeteries. This was after thinking about the subject for 30 years. My book is called The Claudians because it is also about Loudon's cousin, a once famous missionary named Claudius Buchanan. He did much in India to ban wife burning and to encourage degree-level higher education. To understand how the spirit of the Pilgrim Fathers influenced Loudon, one needs to know about his cousin and about his wife, Jane Loudon. She was a sci-fi pioneer who dreamed of a better tomorrow. The cousins and Jane were great travellers, with Loudon advancing through Europe as Napoleon retreated, and Buchanan crossing India on elephants and on foot. It's an exciting story, and I thought the best way to narrate the tale was by writing a novel. I hope you agree. When complete, the companion pages on the gardenvisit.com website will support the story with about 300 pages of factual information about the Claudians, their travels, and their beliefs.